Hey folks, Mr. Lauer here. So my wife has been asking me for a kitchen pot rack for a long time, and I finally got around to building one.
So, you're gonna add this to your YouTube channel?
Yep. In the last video, I came up with the design using SketchUp, and in this video, I'm starting the build. Today, you're gonna see a whole lot of cuts made using hand tools and power tools. And throughout the video, you'll get some of my handy tips and tricks for safe and effective woodworking. If you'd like to build something like this yourself, make sure you check out the link in the description for some free plans. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. So without further ado, let's get on to the build. For the material, I'm using 3/4 inch poplar. By itself, it's not the prettiest lumber around, but it's one of my favorite woods to use for painted furniture because it's easy to work with, it's clear and stable, and best of all, fairly inexpensive for hardwood. Okay, so I did a little bit of a goof here. You see this long piece down here? I did that one first, and then I ended up using it accidentally to make some of these. So, luckily, I think I might have a little extra, so hopefully this works out okay. The device I'm using here is a marking gauge. It features a cutting wheel and an adjustable stop that allows me to score a line parallel to any surface. That helps me mark the boundaries of my cuts as well as sever wood fibers at the surface. That helps prevent tear out later. Here you can see I've marked out the waist of this half-lap joint. It'll be face down when I cut it on the table saw, which is a problem because I can't see what I'm doing. I hate to admit how many times I've cut angles in the exact wrong direction, so to combat this affinity for making mistakes, I make sure to mark the direction the angle is supposed to go on the opposite side. Since I always want to make sure that my workpiece is supported when making cuts with power tools, I screwed a fence board to the front of my miter gauge. This allows me to safely make these angled cuts without worrying about dangerous kickback or getting my fingers too close to the sharp blade. I've been switching between using hand saws and my table saw, mostly for the sake of saving time and consistency. The joinery in the project needs to all come together accurately for this to work. I'm currently more confident in my table saw skills than my hand tool accuracy. A project like this is good for me because I keep up my confidence with building something well, but I still get a little practice with some unfamiliar processes. Honestly, that's really the best way to learn new stuff. You start with what you already know, and then you just sprinkle in little new ideas as you go. I really enjoy using Japanese-style saws for joinery like this. The reason I like them is they cut on the pull stroke instead of the push stroke, which tends to allow for more control with the thinner blade. And they just look really cool. Now this type of joint, if you didn't know, is called a dovetail. It's named for its resemblance to the tail feathers of a certain bird you may have heard of. I haven't made too many of these before, maybe like 5 or 6 in my life, but from what I've seen others do, they usually cut the tail first, and then trace or score the recess for the tail on the second workpiece. By cutting fancy joinery to fit piece by piece, instead of trying to do everything all at once, you can account for errors as you go that often occur when using hand tools. Out of the 3 bracket supports for the pot rack, the center support's the only one that requires a mortise and tenon joint rather than dovetails or half laps. To remove the majority of the waste from the mortises, a drill press with a Forstner bit gets the job done efficiently.
All day I dream about sports, right?
Sports, yes.
Or was it soccer?
Yes.
The rise on these is good too.
Yeah,
Are you videoing? Are you recording?
I like the rise. That's a good rise.
Yeah. Are you recording?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Hey everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Insta for more Costco reviews.
You don't even have an Instagram.
I don't. That's what makes it funny.
You should. You should make one.
I don't want to. It's work.
After that, some sharpened chisels remove and shape the remainder of the mortise. If I'd planned things out a little bit better, I would have measured my mortise and tenon to be the exact same width as the chisels that I'm using. There really isn't anything wrong with the way that I'm doing it here, but it actually just works a bit better when all of your tools and your cuts match up to the same size. It's just one of those things that as you work and experiment with new ideas, you just file that away for next time.
Tab A into slot A, kids. Bang it in there if you need to.
You don't want to whack it too hard. The tricky part is going to be getting this piece. This has to go in an angle, so you can see I've drilled out the center piece, but then this part has to slope down 45 degrees, and then this part has to slope down 45 degrees to about there, and I might have to remeasure it. Not 100% certain. I think that's about in the right spot.
Say again. That's a good mortise.
Yeah, that's a good mortise. I'll finish this guy up later.